Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Toxic rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 2. We are now in episodes something, something, and something, something. What's my line 1 and 2? And good morning to my panel. How are you guys doing? Starting with you, Critter. Happy birthday, belated, by the way, buddy.
Thank you, and you too, right? Then you also have one pop up.
Next week. Next week.
All right. Then I'll take it back. I don't wish you a happy birthday.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you not wishing me happy birthday on my birthday. Toonie Boy, how are you, my friend? How are things across the pond?
Things are plentiful as always. Thanks. Again, I'm just getting invested in that soundtrack and the intro every time.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can thank Northern English Bastard for that one. It's
Did you put that together? Did you edit that?
No, it's from Epic Trailer Music. I just put that and then edited all the clips together from various other trailers and promos. So
yeah. No, I enjoyed
Epic Trailer Music is the one to be credited for the awesome
feels. Yeah, it's a really good soundtrack. I'm a sucker for a great soundtrack. Normally in films, movies, films, TV shows, games, anything. The thing that always stands out to me is a soundtrack. I'm no musician, but I just it's a thing that I remember more than anything. And again, I enjoyed the clips of Angel, knowing what we'll be getting into later this season. And yeah, right. So that's how I'm doing to answer that question.
All right, fantastic. So I think we're past the midway point of the season at this point, and this is kind of a turning point. You know, we've already had our specific episode 7 with Lie to Me. We've had Halloween, our awesome candy episode, or filler episode, whatever you want to call it, Monster of the Week episode anyway. And we've had a couple other things. We've learned some more about Giles. We've gotten a pretty good idea of, Bangel speak and all that entails. And a few things have changed that, I can't really go back now at this point. And a couple really big epic changes. I will tell you, moving forward, actually, let me do my little spiel right here anyway. God, this is so tedious to have to do this, but if you've not seen this stuff and you've not seen all of Buffy and Angel completion, this is not the podcast for you. Don't do this because you're just going to be upset with yourself unless you really don't care about spoilers, in which case. And our copyright disclaimer, I'm going to be using some clips. They're all fair use. All of the stuff that I have is fair use on YouTube. So YouTube, be nice, play nice, YouTube. But yeah, sorry, clearing my throat a little bit there. Shouldn't have to do that. I should have done that during the trailer thing. But what we start to have develop here is a lot of the characters come into play. All of the pieces are set into motion. This is really brilliantly done. However, on a rewatch, I will tell you that I found a lot of flaws with this first two-parter for season 2. It's not the last two-parter. We actually have two more two-parters, including the season finale, which they thought at the time might be the series finale. So it's pretty interesting. I'm going to be interested to know what you guys think of this. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with it. So it is career week at Sunnydale High. And, the kids are having some angsty moments. Maybe Willow, not so much. I think it's an interesting idea to do career week. It reminds us, one, we're still in a high school show. And two, it brings up the point about, Buffy and having the destiny or whatever. I do kind of find it a little bit plot hole-ish, a little bit, just due to the fact that, there's nothing really saying that Buffy can't have a good job just because she has superpowers. That seems weird to me. I mean, is the idea behind that she can't have a fulfilling career because she would have to run off and go do, because, most superheroes do in one form or another, unless they're Bruce Wayne. And even Bruce Wayne has to run like Bruce Wayne Corporation or whatever the hell it's called, Wayne Corp, or
he pays people to do that for him for the most part. He has like a board of directors that are always trying to scheme behind his back and take over his company, but then he has like Lucius Fox, who basically just keeps a lid on things. Not keeps a lid on them, but like he watches over them to make sure that the top board members aren't all taking the company behind his back.
And I get the idea that she's not quite even 17 yet. But at the same time, I'm just wondering, like, does she really think that she can't have a career of any kind? Like, and even in later seasons, spoilery, she actually doesn't, until we get to the comic books that come after the series finale, she really doesn't do anything meaningful, whether it be college or fast food burger joint type places. She doesn't do anything meaningful. And it's suggested in the writing, or at least what I take away from it, is that it's because of the Slayer thing that she can't have any kind of a career or whatever. Do you guys read it that way, or am I totally off my bend here?
I want to throw out. You talk about Batman. I know that Clark Kent always has to take off, and or Peter Parker takes photos of Spider-Man at the same crime because a scene because they were both there. But Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, not so much a job, but they showed the eradicate, like the destruction of his relationships, because he was always with that girl. I forget the character's name. He was always late to meet her for a date, or would have to leave early from the date, or just completely constantly blowing her off because Bruce Wayne would call Terry to put on the suit and go do a thing. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the cartoon in depth in terms of him trying. I think he had a job. It was like during the day, and then at night he would do his investigation and fighting and stuff. So there's an element of like Buffy, can she go to the job at the bookstore? But then, because clearly she does investigations and fighting during the day for some of these monsters and whatnot. So I guess there is an element of her. Yes, she probably couldn't hold down a 9 to 5, or unless she got a part-time gig, but I don't know how long that would last when she gets called off to like intercept some guy that came into town that was stealing, artifacts or something.
Yeah. So, she's kind of feeling a little melancholy about the whole deal, and that's going to lend itself to the story later on. So having career week for these two powder is actually, what's my line is actually pretty iconic. All of the titles for any Buffy episode always have at least a dual meaning, if not a triple meaning to it. And obviously the what's my line goes back to the day, hey, what's my line? And old radio talkie shows, obviously Critter, you would know that from back before the TV days. And
1922.
Right. Yeah. So, Xander's also a little nonplussed. Was one of the first times. I will say, I'm going to preface right now, these two episodes have the most Xander lines that I use in my everyday nomenclature and vernacular. I rewatched this and I was like, holy shit, this is where I got that from, because it's, obviously over 25 years ago that this came on. So I was just like, holy shit, that's where I get that. We find Spike in the Spike factory lair with Drusilla doing her usual Drusilla shit. And they've got this balding, bookish nerd vampire that we've seen pop up once or twice, trying to go through the codex that they had stolen in Lie to Me from Giles's library. And apparently this is a rejuvenation book that we're going to find out later. Spoiler for that. And he's trying to get Drusilla back to health. For those not in the know and not reading the other novels and things like that, Drusilla and Spike were mobbed in Europe. And during the melee, he got pretty injured, but revived. But Drusilla wound up, someone had hit her with a mystical potion of some kind while they were trying to take them both down. And she's still feeling the effects of it. And it's actually deteriorating her as time goes by. And only her vampire powers are keeping her alive, where normally she would have, been dusted by now. So this balding vampire, and by the way, that's got to suck, right? You get turned into a vampire when you're like a bookish nerd or whatever. You got to spend the rest of your life with that hairline. That sucks. But he's not finding the stuff that Spike wants him to find. He's not translating things properly. And they've got to find a different solution, or else he's going to lose Drusilla. So it's starting to look kind of bad right now for Team Spike Drusilla. Sorry, Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to edit that out later. Anyway, Buffy's doing her investigation, as Critter pointed out, and she's coming into the crypt and she's finding them looking through old artifacts, and including Bookish Nerd is stealing a simple cross. And why a vampire would want to steal a cross is unbeknownst, but there it is. She dusts a couple of the vampires, but the Bookish vampire gets away with the artifact. Later on, she sneaks into her her room, finds Angel waiting for her, holding Mr. Gordo. And, he explains to her, yes, I know it's career week, and I know that's why you're upset and not in a good mood. He also asks her a pretty funny question, which is interesting. This is one of those times where the writers had to figure out something for the plot after the plot had already happened and after they filmed something. So they had Buffy sneaking into the window, but then later had developed the fact that Joyce was out of town on a whatever Joyce does when she goes out of town. So they have Angel just quickly ask, like, why'd you sneak in the window? It's just like habit. And I thought that was pretty cute and funny. Plus, it's a good cover so anyone with the DVD, you can listen to Marty Noxon, who wrote this episode, talk about how they had figured out a plot hole and then fixed it later with just one simple line of dialogue, which I always enjoy. I don't have a problem with shows or movies developing or having plot holes and then all of a sudden they explain them away with one line of dialogue. That's exactly what they should do. So the next day, the results are out of the test that everybody took, and Xander's trying to poke at Cordelia, but she actually gets exactly what she wanted. Although I would point out that motivational speaker and professional shopper, neither are things that she's going to wind up doing later on in life. So it is kind of funny in that way. They didn't have, vampire detective secretary up there for her, which is of course what she winds up doing. She sees Xander's results and starts to laugh, which I kind of take offense to, because Xander gets prison guard and joining the army, which is two vocations I have done. So fuck you, Cordy.
Fairly respectable as well, aren't they? I mean, to be perfectly honest, Xander is like what, 17 at this in like canon. I mean, it's like, wait, so he's already prospected to be a prison guard, even though it's like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's got to say something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we move into Snyder's doing his usual, trying to be up Buffy's butt. And one of the lines, like I said, this two-parter is rich with stuff that I've taken my Xander vernacular. And after he gets totally insulted by Snyder for like a good 30 seconds, Xander gives him the whole, I appreciate your honesty, and I hope one day I'm in a position to be just as honest with you. Which is some, that's good dialogue.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, that's one way to try and out-snide someone.
So we finally get Seth Green and Allison Hannigan, or Oz and Willow, to meet each other, and they've met each other because the corporation or something, suit jacket guys have decided to take these two students because they test the highest on whatever test that they gave them. And so Oz doing his usual thing, and they made a great character to juxtapose against Willow, her high anxiety, worrisome, bubbling, bambling, rambling type thing, where you have this laconic, totally de-stressed guy that's chill at all times. They make a great counterbalance to each other. I think they're probably the best relationship on the entire series, which is saying a lot considering the fact that she's going to be a lesbian in just a couple seasons.
Nice,
so we're back.
Oz.
Go ahead.
I said, nice going, Oz.
Yeah, Oz turned her away from dudes.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dick. Anyway, so this is where we start to get to some of the flaws in the episode. I mean, it's very plot heavy, and I don't really care for it. It's where you have the character say, I need to bring in the big guns, and you have a secondary character say something to the effect of, isn't that overkill? Which is, I find that to be extremely pedantic and annoying. It's like, and then, they're very underwhelming. So Spike decides he's going to bring in these assassins to keep Buffy busy, hopefully kill Buffy, while he's rejuvenating Cordelia. What is the Order of Taraka? What is you guys' thoughts, starting with you, Critter? What is your thoughts on what we see of the Order of Taraka?
It's more the world building. So it's, again, not vampire fan, but not a huge vampire fan. So this kind of stuff is like, I was learning as we went. So I'm kind of enjoying, I know that you already mentioned you didn't really care for this episode. I kind of enjoyed these two episodes with all the world building and character development that did. So I'm like, I'm interested. So let's see where this goes.
Okay. Toonie Boy, what's your thoughts?
I was enjoying the episodes as I was watching through them, but in terms of the Order of Taraka, thinking back on it, do you want to play the clip first? Oh.
No, go ahead. I'll play it. Okay. You talk over it. They'll probably save us some.
Yeah. They had a sort of presence throughout the two episodes. Like, they kind of cut back to them every so often, but I really didn't feel like Buffy was being hunted very much after the first guy that when Angel jumped in. They weren't really, they were sort of just there. Like, it would cut to them and show them every so often, but there wasn't really any threat to Buffy, even though they kind of like played up that she was always going to be hunted. There'd be an infinite amount of them, no matter how many she killed, and they all hunted in their own way and all that kind of stuff. And it just didn't really feel like, I feel like they could have been in the episodes more, like there could have been more attempts on her life. Because she goes from being like really ignorant about the threat, and then it gets explained to her, and then she's like almost terrified of them. But we never really get an idea of, we never really get it hit home why she should be. We get told why she should be terrified of them, but we don't really get shown it. One guy kind of lays her out and then gets beaten, and then the other two are just sort of pushed to the wayside. I mean, it's like Xander and Cordelia managed to get away from one of them pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
And the third one, I suppose we'll get there, but yeah. All right.
Northern, what's your thoughts on the Order of Taraka?
They are very forgettable because it's like Tony Boy just said, they don't really present much of a threat. I mean, one is a female cop that tries to shoot Buffy in the school and she gets taken out pretty quickly, and you just can't forget about them. It's like, do they ever kind of get brought in or hinted at in the later episodes? Because I feel like they were just they were just ideas.
They're
just throwing some ideas in, and that's it. They're trying to throw some ideas, give us some more villains to take on, but like you said, they kind of just get done with easily, and they're supposed to be the big guns.
Yeah, he described them as overkill as well, and you're like, are they overkill? Really?
Yeah, they're definitely not overkill. But
see, I had no idea that after this we never see them again. Like there's like they. So I guess now I feel stupid. It's like, oh, okay, let's see what they're gonna do with this, and I did not realize that was it. They don't
shit!
Call in any others,
guys. I apologize. I have not had enough coffee yet. You know what I forgot to do? And I really blame you guys. You guys should have reminded me. Here we go.
Demon bounty hunters have been summoned.
These assassins, why are they after me?
They could be anywhere. They could be anyone. And the Slayer never knows when they'll strike next. Buffy the Vampire Slayer next.
Yeah, that's on you guys really more than anything else. At this point, we've done enough of these shows, and you guys definitely should have reminded me to do the promo, but that's okay. Yeah. That's okay.
We're sorry.
We're so sorry. All right.
Apologies, Lord.
We'll do better. We'll do better.
All right. So we got Career Day is going on, and the Order of Taraka's moving in. I think this is the point where I've lost some slides, so we're just gonna have to make do with a couple of video clips, but that's okay because that's exactly what it's for. Let's see. Buffy goes and does some ice skating because of course she does, and Angel, she gets attacked by the Motley Crue version of the Order of Taraka. He pops in, and I think I've got a couple images of that. And I guess we find out that in real life trivia, Buffy actually was an ice skater before she was in acting, or at least she did it on the side for a lot of what she had done before her big acting career. So that's kind of cool. Although I find the mood and all, I find it very teen angsty. I find it very like, I don't really give a shit about, what she's got going on. But anyway, so the Motley Crue guy attacks. Angel jumps in. We have different versions of everybody showing up. Obviously we get Motley Crue guy gets off a bus, and then we see Bug Guy shows up to Buffy's neighbor's house and kills Buffy's neighbor. That's never addressed later on. And then we get the third, or what we think is the third assassin, shows up. A very hot, attractive young black woman, but looking kind of fierce. So she shows up. I do have a clip of that.
You can do it with your back into it. I can do it with your ass into it.
Watch me squash this shit.
Fierce. I like her better without the accent. That's obviously beyond.
God, yeah, that accent was horrible.
It's bad. It's bad. The accent was a last minute addition by Marty Noxon, who was their first time helding and being in charge of an episode. And they were like, hey, let's give her like this obscure Jamaican accent. Kind of racist, consider it. Like, we bring in a black chick, so she's got to be Jamaican. Like, she could have been from Cleveland. There's a Hellmouth on Cleveland, like, easily. I think it would have worked a lot better had she come in with that, Save the Last Dance persona that Bianca Lawson can do. By the way, I've seen Bianca Lawson recently, as in like 3 years ago on Chicago PD, and she still looks exactly the fucking same. Someone needs to throw some holy water on her because something's going on there. I don't know. Also, interestingly, Bianca Lawson, who plays Kendra, originally auditioned for the role of Cordelia on this show. That could have been really cool because not only was she a lot younger, but, you know, kind of having this different, you know, I know that diversity forced is, but back in 97, that wasn't really a thing, or 96 when they were developing the show. So I think that could have been really cool. What would you guys have thought of Bianca Lawson as a Cordelia, as opposed to what we got with Charisma Carpenter?
Well, Save the Last Dance was a bad film, but she was convincingly bitchy, so I think she would have pulled it off.
Yeah. Save the Last Dance is not a bad film. How dare you, sir? You know what?
I remember watching it with some lass, and I don't know. I wasn't. It was 20 years ago. I was still a kid.
If I didn't love you so much,
I'll probably
anyway,
give it another go one day. Who knows?
So, because Angel is so worried about Buffy, he decides that he is going to go off and grab Willie the Barkeep. I think this is our first appearance of Willie the Barkeep. A lot of people introduced in this two-parter, and he's gonna, roust him for some information.
Okay. He and that freaky chick of his are.
Oh no! I hope Angel's okay. I hope this main character's not gonna die. Oh no! Look, he's okay. I love how those commercial breaks used to totally fucking bullshit you back in the day. That's so funny. So we get Kendra versus Angel, and at this point, although it's not explicitly stated, I remember watching this with my ex-wife, and my ex-wife going, "Is she a vampire slayer?" And me going, "Yeah, I think so." Like, because she fights like one, she acts like one. Although this method of, I mean, she is whipping the shit out of Angel. There's no doubt about that. But this method of killing him is a little stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you and throw you in a cage, and then I'm gonna wait for the sun to dust you, or something like that. And also, how come super strong Angel can't get out of a cage with a little? I could kick that door out with, like, it wouldn't even take me very long either. So I don't know. The power level of people is inconsistent, but also keep in mind that for more than a couple seasons, they keep Oz, the full werewolf, 3 nights a week. They keep him locked up in the library bookcase with a little simple rinky dink lock. So, I don't know what to think about. They've kept a few people in there. They've kept vampires in there. They've kept Xander when he turned into the hyena pack guy or whatever. So what are you guys' initial thoughts on Kendra here? Did you guys guess the reveal, or was it something that you just thought she was another Tarakan assassin?
Well, late at night, I checked the Wikipedia before I started watching the episode, so I kind of spoiled it for myself. But I thought she was pretty cool. But it's, again, like, how come Angel can't get out of a small cage? I don't know. The plot. It was needed for the plot.
Right. Hey, Luke, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to rearrange the thing so that your face is not.
It's no problem.
Shut down with the trivia. I apologize.
You can always swap us around, and I can just sort of sit up. There you go.
I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you.
Even I don't. I need to learn that. I need to start looking at my options.
No, that didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Sorry, buddy. You're just gonna have to eat it on that one. That's your fault for coming in last. So she's gonna wait for the sun to kill him slowly. I mean, I guess in a way that's kind of clever, but at the same time, I don't know how that.
Kind of psychotic as well. I mean, it's like
it's a little unnecessarily, mean or whatever. So obviously she was scouting Buffy, and we thought she was a Tarakan assassin. And what gave it away for me is the fact that she didn't jump in and help out Motley Crue guy. Because if she was an assassin and they were trying to get the bounty, and why would she not jump in after that, especially while Angel and Buffy were busy sucking face. Also, Buffy's, I don't have the clip and I don't have the slide, but Buffy kisses Angel in full vamp face. Number one, how come he can't turn his vamp face back? I don't get that. Like, that's very inconsistent because he can always do it later on. And number two, why the fuck is Buffy kissing him like that? This is her father's fault. This is really, I blame this on the dad. I blame this on Hank Summers. Hank Summers did a bad job with Buffy. That's why she's liking that. And she even says, like, I didn't even notice that you were in vamp face. It's like, dude, what? Are you serious right now? Like, that's crazy. So anyway, there's that. And also, we're going to get to see, I guess, nothing else really. I mean, she did kick the shit out of him and nothing else really happens to him. But for some reason, when we see Angel again in the next episode, he's almost like dying. but the sun doesn't like. And in later seasons, we see Spike running around with just like a jacket over him in full sunlight. Like this is very inconsistent. So I don't. Again, I hate to nitpick, but it's something that definitely bothers me a little bit. Luke, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is a bit dumb. It is a bit dumb. I don't know what they were doing there. Maybe they were just thinking, "Fuck it, we need to get an episode out."
I feel like they make a mistake with having different writers do different stuff, and they don't have somebody be consistent with it. I think there should be like I don't know what they would call it, but like a consistency person that just like, hey, by the way, Angel's powers don't work this way, or hey, by the way, you got to make sure yada yada yada. Because like when they flip flop with that, it completely pulls me out of the story. Anyway, let's see. We've got. Does that happen in episode 1 or episode 2? Well, anyway, Buffy walks by her house and she's starting to feel the effects of this existential dread of the Order of Taraka. And she comes in, sees that her front door is open. And then she decides, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go to my boyfriend's house. It's like, dude, what if your mom came home early from her fucking trip, bro? Like, are you serious right now? Like, that's, dude, she just leave. And even if her mom didn't, there could still be regular robbers and regular threats in Sunnydale. Like, what if somebody just comes and burglarizes your fucking house? Like, it's crazy. But anyway, she goes to Angel's house to kind of lay low.
Okay.
Oh, wrong one. Oh, fuck. Sorry. So she goes to Angel's house to lay low. Couple problems there. Number one, she breaks his door down, which is crazy. That it's like, dude, I get it. Like it's a vampire, stronghold, but Jesus Christ, Buffy, did you really need to fucking, break his door down when you went into his apartment? And then number two, Buffy lays in his bed fully clothed with her fucking boots on. Like, dude, right? Like, even my girlfriend watching this was like, what the fuck? Take your fucking shoes off. Jesus Christ. I get it that she's got to stay ready for battle, but dude, have a little respect. And then Buffy quips way too much in this one. Hey, no, thanks for the wake up call, but I think I'll stick with my alarm clock. And then, says something else. Oh, she says, don't make me do the chick fight thing, and then digs her fingernails into Kendra's. And then this is really like bad examples of Kendra's. Hold on.
Cheek fight.
Oh my God, that's so terrible. Cheek fight. Call me now.
You guys watch Modern Family, or have you ever watched Modern Family?
Yeah.
So Sophia, oh God, what's her last name?
Vergara. Sophia Vergara.
that over exaggerated Spanish accent. I know she's not Spanish, the character, but like that's what it kind of reminds me of. Cheek fight,
Is she is, but Sophia Vergara is Spanish.
Oh, I meant Jamaican.
So we get the big reveal here that she's the vampire slayer, Kendra, the vampire slayer, in that horrible accent. So so that's the first one. Thoughts on this first one, guys?
Oh yeah, it's kind of I think my opinion will have to be the verdict meh.
Is it meh? It's kind of meh.
Yeah, I mean, it does have some element that carries on into the finale, the penultimate episode, I should say. But apart from that, it's kind of forgettable. It's definitely one of the few episodes that I'm struggling to remember most of it.
Yeah. Critter, what's your thoughts on this one? Is it steak-tastic, Matt, or is it skippable?
I'm gonna say steak-tastic. And that term sounds like it's super duper cool. I mean, I just loved the two-part because there was so much getting dumped out there, so much with the characters. The different offsets, Oz and Willow and Spike and Drusilla and etc. But I also have to say, if you have a trained assassin, you need to get somewhere to kill somebody, and he's taking the bus. I mean, all right, I'll see you in a week and a half. I don't know.
Well, apparently LA to Sunnydale is only 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. So he came from LA. I just assume he's in Oregon. I'll be there next month.
Well, it said LA on the bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But okay. He got a steak-tastic from Critter and a
I really thought they dumped a lot out. I enjoyed it.
Okay, fair enough. Toonie, what's your score?
Yeah, I wish there was a rating in between Steak-tastic and meh, because it's just below Steak-tastic. It's got to be a meh, but it's not like an average meh. I'd say it's a good meh.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's like it's not an 8, but it's like a 7.8. You know what I mean? It's one of those. I'm getting too specific, but yeah, I did really enjoy the episode. Of all the mehs we've had so far, it's probably one of the better
best
ones.
of the meh. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a meh as well. No surprise there for all of the reasons that I said. I mean, maybe the film critic, movie critic in me that has developed in the last 27 years since this was released is kind of looking at it judging it a little too harshly, and that's fair if it is. I don't know, but at the same time, it's just like I'm wondering, really, like some of the stuff is like so egregious that it's really hard for me to give it anything else. But it's definitely not skippable. You can't be skippable just due to the fact that regardless, it's got too much stuff that it gives us. It gives way too many characters to introduce. It's definitely not a skippable episode by any stretch of the imagination. So there's that. But anyway, so moving on we go right into the action in the next one, part two of What's My Line. Where is that slide? Where are you at?
I will say that we also get more. We also get some more Xander in that first episode as well, like more physical action, like more like standing up for himself. With Cordelia, Principal Snyder. It's also got that funny "Is murder okay sometimes?" joke near the beginning with Cordelia. I enjoyed.
Oh
that
no,
one.
he's firing on all cylinders in this one. He's so fucking funny in this.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like I said, so many of his little jokes are stuff that I've used. The whole thing he says to Cordelia, it's like she's like, "What am I, mass transit?" And he's like, "It's just locker room talk. I wouldn't pay it any mind." I use that probably at least once a week on something. This is also this two-parter. Besides all the other characters that it introduces the term Scooby Gang, which is what they refer to themselves moving forward. And of course, Scooby Gang is going to be a reference to the Scooby-Doo show, where they solve mysteries of what seems like always seems like a supernatural thing, but it always winds up just being an evil white guy in a mask. So make of that what you will. But anyway, moving forward, they will refer to themselves as a Scooby Gang. So we come back to Angel is in kind of dire stakes here. No pun intended, or maybe pun intended. Now, why exactly this is, I'm not sure. There's no way he could cover himself because, like I said, we've seen many, many times where Spike just like runs around just holding his jacket over his head. So that seems odd to me. And especially the way this is like seemingly like depleting his power or something, like, because it's usually like sunlight and then it's just instant setting on fire or dust. There's no like, oh, it's ebbing my power away. I find it to be very inconsistent and really pulls me out of the episode. But he's not killed, and he's saved by Willie the bartender, who drags him underneath the sunlight down into the sewers for a waiting Spike and his crew. And Spike, being cheeky as always, and when he's asked what is he going to do with them, he says, take it slow, take him to a dinner and a movie. I've been hurt. I think this is where we really get an idea of James Marsters' continuity supervisor. Shut up, critter.
That would be someone that would work on a script or movie set to make sure everything.
Okay. Well, you could just say that. You don't have to private chat. You just say it. Just say it.
I didn't want to interrupt you like I'm doing now.
Yeah. Okay. Modern day Marvel doesn't need one. Why should these?
And all right, now that I'm interrupting, to get back to Toony Boy and the music, I want to mention in the beginning of the part one, a little bit of the intro, not the intro, the music in the beginning as she's hunting in the dark. Some of that music sounded like Planet of the Apes theme, the music from Planet of the Apes.
Wow, that's pretty racist.
Just FYI.
That's pretty racist. Who was hunting? Kendra?
No. In the beginning, as Buffy was coming out in the dark, I was like, "Oh, that music sounds familiar." And it sounded like some of the music from Planet of the Apes.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway. Well, good points. Good points all the way around. Thank you. I think this is I think this is probably, if it's not ad-libbed, it's certainly actor-libbed. Like, this may have been the line, but the way that it's delivered, I think Marsters gives it a little bit of cheekiness that he ordinarily wouldn't have had in the line. Because I could see this being played a couple different ways. But he comes by so charming in this role. I think this is when people started to really have some affectation towards him, and he he's started to worm his way into permanence with the show, as we're going to find out. Not only does he stay for the rest of the Buffy series, but he also jumps onto Angel after Buffy is over. So I find him just to be anytime he's on screen, he's fun to watch, in my opinion. So you guys feel the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spike's
Spike.
Spike's great character.
Yeah, he's a highlight. Absolutely enjoyable.
Yeah. We all like Spike. Spike is definitely one of those characters that all of us guys are not too proud to admit that we like to watch.
Gay!
Okay. Anyway, so Spike takes him back into their lair, and let's see, where are we at? Oh, there we are. Hang on one second. Spike brings him back to lair because we find out that Angel is the key to the resurrection spell. They've got to have Angel specific blood, and that's what's going to bring back Drusilla. And we switch over to the Summers house where Xander and Cordelia have gone looking for Buffy, and one of the Order of Taraka assassins is also there. And because now I don't know if he needed to be invited in, but certainly it helped his cover. And Cordelia is, doing her Cordelia stuff. She finds out there's possibility of free makeup, although she's rich, so I don't really see, like, at this point, like, why she was worried about free makeup. But a woman is gonna woman, I guess, at the end of the day. And she tells him she's both a winter and a summer, which of course she is. And Xander pops in, and I love the little dread. I love how they build it up. He doesn't just instantly turn into the worm bomb, but he has like the 90s CGI worm just like crawling into his ear, and she had already seen like one on his hand. So it was kind of giving, like, they didn't know exactly what the deal was, but they knew it was bad, whatever was going on. And of course he turns full worm boss on him, and they run down and hide in the basement. We go back, and Buffy and Kendra now have teamed up. They are on the same side against an enemy. They know that they're both slayers, and they go after Willie to find out what happened to Angel, because that's the last place that Kendra had left him. Angel's not there, so they start to beat the shit out of Willie. He gives up some information, not all the information, but enough to put them on to the next thing. And then they have a weird, cheesy dialogue line where Willie says, "Do you guys want to do some nude photography?" It's like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, are you serious right now? Like, what? Who wrote that? And that's a woman that wrote that thing. That's Marty Noxon wrote that line and put that in there. So it's just like, and I know Joss will probably get blamed for it, but Joss had nothing to do with this episode besides just being the producer. And that's such a weird thing. You just asked two 16-year-old girls, did they want to do nude modeling? Even my girlfriend watching this was like, dude, they're 16. Are you serious? We start to see a lot more of Kendra doing things, the prototypical Slayer way, and Buffy doing it the unorthodox way. What is you guys' thoughts on prototypical Slayer Kendra type, full follow orders, do the mission, blah, 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 as opposed to the way that Buffy does stuff? What are you guys' thoughts about that? Starting with you, Critter.
No, I think it's a different approach of how a vampire slayer would approach, different backgrounds, different upbringings, different training, so one has, a little bit of flippant, the other is just like, oh, no nonsense. So it's kind of like, bounty hunters, the same thing. Like some are, watch all these different movies, different approaches to being a bounty hunter. Some are by the book, some are loosey goosey with like quips. So I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Interesting. Toonie Boy, what's your thoughts? Because I know this is your first rewatch through, right?
It's my first rewatch, yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoy the idea of it. I'd say the actress for Kendra does a good enough job without the accent, but I must say the way she says "girl" as well. That one was when that stood out to me as just like the moment I was like, okay, maybe the accent just isn't helping anything. But in terms of the alternate Slayer approaches, I do like the idea of it. I'd say I like the execution of it well enough in this episode that she comes from like a family somewhere across the seas. I can't remember exactly where. That sort of almost raise people to be slayers. Like they hand their daughters off to the Watchers, and it's almost like their life is built up to that point. So, and whereas Buffy just sort of got it sprang upon her at one point. So and there is it's like Buffy could learn a little bit of seriousness from Kendra, and it's very surface level, but it's like, they've got stuff to learn from each other. Kendra needs to recognize that emotion is a driving force for your battles, and Buffy needs to know when to keep her head on straight in a battle as well.
Luke, what's your thoughts?
I think the idea is, I like the idea, like opposing ideals with different vampire slayers, because it makes sense. She's come from she's basically been trained. She's trained to be a slayer since she was a little girl. She comes from a different background. Buffy kind of was a little bit of a valley girl, sort of high school girl. She had a normal life before this, and so it kind of makes sense why they would approach things differently. But I think the idea does kind of get executed a lot better in season 3 when Faith comes in.
One of the things that is important to note, being the big Buffy nerd on the panel, obviously, is that so the way it works with the Slayer thing is there's always like 30 or 40 at any given time potential Slayers, and if they don't get called by a certain age, usually by the age of 18, then they don't get called at all, right? They kind of stole this from Highlander a little bit. So, but between the ages of like 13 or 12 all the way into 18, that's when, and the way they figure that out, the Watchers Council uses magicians and warlocks, just like, any other kind of mystical institute would. And they find out who is a potential slayer. Now, some people slip through the cracks. Buffy was one of the ones that slipped through the cracks. When you don't slip through the cracks, it's kind of like the Jedis in Star Wars. They will assign you to a watcher, and you kind of get plucked away from your family. And the Watchers Council basically pays for everything, pays for your training, pays for your schooling. And if you get called, great, you're ready to rock and roll. If you don't get called, well, you could go become a watcher, or you could help help the council in some kind of way or fashion, because you already have all this training and knowledge and stuff like that. You just don't have any superpowers. Now, like I said, Buffy being called was an unknown thing, because the Slayer before Buffy was killed earlier than anyone had prophesized, because she made a bad mistake, fell in love with her watcher, and she was killed before her time, really. And so Buffy got called early, and Buffy was one of the people that they didn't know was a potential Slayer. A lot of this is explained in season 7, but a lot more is explained in some of the books that have become canon that happen after the series finale. So anyway, if you're looking for a good book, you could I'll find a shot of it, but it's called Spike and Drew, All the Pretty Maids, which basically talks about Spike and Drew trying to wipe out the entire Slayer line back in the 40s or something like that during World War II. So, and they're hired to do so by like a big demon that wants to get rid of the Slayer line, because ideally, if you kill off all the potential Slayers before they become a Slayer, and then kill the Slayer, then there will be no more Slayers. I think was the logic there. So anyway, Buffy's unorthodox thing, it makes her a better Slayer because she brings in people. She does things her own way. She has her watcher be, like more like a father figure. Her friends, she uses them as resources and stuff like that. And they've saved her more often than they have not. She's got a vampire boyfriend, things like that. But what that also does is that makes her uncontrollable to the Watchers Council, which makes her in their mind a liability, which is why in later seasons, when we see Buffy struggling and everyone's like, why doesn't the Watcher Council just give her money and resources? Because they don't want to, because they want her to die and get out of the way so that they can have a Slayer like Kendra, who's a lot more controllable. So that's a little bit of lore for you. Anyway, we got Spike and Drew, and he decides to tell her that, I figured out your cure is Angel. And we've got Angel right now, and she decides, hey, I want to torture him for a little bit before we use him for the spell. Going back to the school, we got a lot of Buffy and Kendra fucking with each other, which I like this petty of the things that I do like in the two-parter, and I like it even more now. Is the pettiness of Buffy. Now that Buffy's situation is being challenged a little bit, she's being so catty with Kendra. She's calling her Pink Ranger. She's making fun of her accent. Oh, Kendra killed the bad lamp. things like that. And then, when Kendra comes up with a plan, Buffy's like, "Ooh, yeah, go, let's charge," and then Kendra claps back at her too. And I like the eye rolling thing. This is why the Jamaican thing was really not necessary, because the eye rolling thing would have worked a lot better if she was like from Cleveland or LA or something like that, because
she hated the accent, so she did. From what I saw in an interview, but they suggested it, and she said they didn't really give me a chance to try and get comfortable with it, and she still hates it to this day.
Yeah. But yeah, not to be taken aback by it, Kendra claps back at Buffy a little bit, and some of it's really funny. It's like, "Oh, you let her have friends, you let her do this. Oh, was she also a cheerleader?" And in fact, yeah, actually she was for a little bit. So we get a little more of that. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the
You can do it, put your back into it. I can do it, put your ass into it.
Watch me squash this shit.
how much better would that have been than what we got?
Yeah.
I love this. This is one of my favorite Xander lines, is because it's so guileless. Like there's no sarcasm here at all, because Cordy's freaking out and they're stuck down there, and he's just patiently waiting. He's like, "You don't even have a plan to save us." He's like, "I have a plan. We wait. Buffy saves us." And it's like he's not emasculated in any way. Like today he would be like a cuck or a soy boy. They'd lean too heavy into it. But I mean, he's just practical. He's like, "Look, I don't have any fucking superpowers. What do you want me to do?" It's like, this is her house. She's going to show up here. We'll be okay sooner or later. But of course, Cordelia's getting a little bit of claustrophobia. And then, of course, we have the big kiss that takes place. Let me see if I have a clip of that. I thought I did, but maybe I don't have a clip of that. But I mean, it's been building up for a while. But all of a sudden, Xander and Cordelia have their big moment. And it's pretty funny.
It is my favorite moment in this whole episode. It's just comes out of nowhere, but you kind of see it as well coming.
I feel like it was been built up pretty good with that. But I'll also, fucking totally forgot. Hold on, see if I got this. During career day, as they coming up with the plan, forgot to put this one in. This happens before this right here.
Listen up and answer when I call your name. Buffy Summers?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
I was thinking that when I first saw this episode.
Yeah.
I love how the bullet hits the stack of papers, but misses the 3 or 4 students that are kind of running around behind the table.
Yeah, so cop soccer mom here is supposed to be our third assassin, and she sucks. Like, dude, you suck. Like, this is your job. You get paid for this. Like, she's got like 3 guns and a knife, and she still can't take Buffy out. Now, granted, Kendra does come in here out of nowhere, and they probably weren't expecting 2 Slayers, but at the same time, it's just like,
shit, Jonathan. I think that's his first appearance in it.
Jonathan has popped up before. He's been in a couple. He was an Inca Mummy Girl. He's been in a couple different things. But yeah. Oh shit, I'm going too far. We're going way too far. Anyway, but yeah, it's the Oz gets shot, endearing himself to not only Willow but to the Scooby Gang in general. They understand that everything is going tits up at this stuff, and all Buffy wants to do is go save Angel from Spike and Drusilla, which doesn't do her too well with Kendra, because Kendra's is like, I mean, I get it that Buffy is unorthodox, but you have to understand, like, Buffy's really susceptible to distractionary tactics. Like, she doesn't think straight when she gets distracted by something. It's not until the much later seasons that Buffy becomes a halfway decent strategist, and even then, as far into like season 7, Buffy makes some really fucking bad mistakes with some of the shit that she does. Because she goes in there, and a couple of the Order of Taraka assassins that are still around, and a couple of vampires led by Willie, basically capture Buffy, and now you're fucked. So, and then now the rejuvenation spell is beginning, and too far. And yeah, so we get into Spike has said the magic words and intermingled Drusilla and Angel. It's Angel's blood, and I guess enough of his essence or whatever in this unholy ceremony is going to come in, and then that's what's going to rejuvenate her. And now they've also captured Buffy, and actually Spike is not super pleased about it, because Spike, as hot-headed as he is, does realize that he's in the middle of this ceremony. Bringing Buffy into this area is probably a recipe for disaster, because she's messed up his plans many times. So Buffy and Kendra versus, here we go. All right, so
it's the kind of thing that I would only do.
Come to a simmering.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Right, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to play a clip. That kind of mistake of you have the person who always cocks up your plans. You could kill her on the way here or kill her straight away, but no. Instead, you've brought her straight to the secret location that you want her not to be. You're like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that I would do in a video game when I'm more interested in the villain character than I am in actually winning. I just want to be a stereotypical villain for the sake of fun, rather than actually winning.
I do really like this line that he delivers right here when Buffy sees what's happening to Angel and basically understands what's taking place here. So
It bugs me too, seeing him like that. Another 5 minutes, though, and Angel will be dead, so I forbear. Don't feel too bad for Angel, though. He's got something you don't have.
What's that?
5 minutes.
Yeah, I did like that line. But again, it's one of those, he gives a speech and then... now, hang on. I was going to say, the fight does start, seconds after this, doesn't he? He's about
I believe so.
Yeah,
I think Kendra comes in with the cavalry here just within a second or two. Buffy struggling a little bit. She's going to pull out her fourth pistol, and here comes Kendra doing unnecessary gymnastics and to jump into the fray.
Yeah, to be fair, he did try and kill her straight away. It was only a matter of 3 seconds.
Yeah. But yeah, Kendra comes in to help Buffy, and right behind her is the rest of the Scooby Gang. We get one of the cool little quips, 2 Slayers, no waiting. And then we do the obligatory, I'm going to take on one person while you take on another person. Giles comes in clutch with the crossbow, kills one of the random vampires. Buffy's making short work of the soccer mom, because why wouldn't she? Spike kind of getting on top of Kendra a little bit here. This is kind of an interesting scene. If you know what you know in later seasons, the line that Buffy delivers here in a second when they switch up is pretty interesting.
Switch!
I'd rather be fighting you anyway.
Mutual.
What's you guys' thoughts on that with all the foreshadowing?
I mean, yeah, they've already got that want to kill each other relationship going on that never really goes away. Yeah.
This is the first thing that I thought of because there's been so many times when their fucking chemistry, her and Marsters have such fucking great chemistry. It's like, as soon as I saw that scene, it's like, I'd rather be fighting you anyway. And she's like, same. It's like, dude, just fuck already. Like, come on, you guys. Why did we have to wait 4 more seasons for them to fuck? Like, are you serious right now? It's like, and the fact that when they do fuck for the first time, it's totally in the middle of a battle. Like, oh, look at her. This is because of your no father figure, Buffy. I blame Hank Summers. Hank Summers, this is all you right here. This is all you, Hank Summers. You did this. No one else. This is for you young girls who are looking up to Buffy. That's good to have a strong female, but don't look at Buffy's choices with men as anything good, because it's horrible. You need to be strong in yourself and not need to have toxic guys like me. Or, to put it a better way, you go ahead and do it, because us toxic guys are awesome as far as that goes. Anyway,
look, she can fix him, Toxic. She can fix him.
Sure she can. I mean, she does kind of turn him into like a beta cuck or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know.
That's a bad slug of a moment.
I like how Spike takes the time to go fuck with Willie in the middle of all this. Like, dude, you have better shit to fucking worry about right here. I didn't know this Guts for Garters thing was Tudor England. Thanks, guys, for the Guts to Garters line. I appreciate you, all the stuff. And Spike was actually gonna bite Willie right there. That's interesting. I like how he bitch slaps Buffy to the ground, and Kendra fighting with Soccer Mom. She's actually struggling with Soccer Mom until Soccer Mom makes the mistake of cutting her shirt right there, which obviously brings out a side of Kendra that, like Buffy had told her before, let your anger take over, let the hate flow through you, and it'll make you more powerful, which obviously,
Watch me squash this shit.
What is that from?
Only shirt!
I was just about to make that check, though. No, I've just remembered he was using that now.
Look out, he's randomly throwing a fire thing at us.
Yeah. I love that it goes like the "that's my only shirt" line sort of comes almost like a surprise realization afterwards. Like the first one is "that's my favorite shirt," and then it's like a pause and he goes "that's my only shirt."
Dude, where is Spike going right now? He was heading right to the where was he gonna go? Like what was he gonna do here? Like she hits him in the back of the head with the thing or whatever. Okay, great. And then the piano thing collapses on him. But where was he going? There's literally nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, well, the door's to the left, but he didn't really. He wasn't going to the left. You know what I mean?
He was going straight at this thing. Like, what bad blocking? Another nitpick that I have with the episode, but it is what it is. It's
if only there was a continuity supervisor.
A continuity supervisor, yeah. Imagine that. So anyway, they win the day. Buffy loans her a shirt, tells her not to watch any Chevy Chase movies. Fun fact: Sarah Michelle Gellar actually had a bit part in the 1987 movie Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. So I don't know if that was on purpose or what the deal was with that, but or maybe just a happy coincidence. And
if it's Chevy Chase, then don't blame her, probably.
Yeah. Kendra tells her, "I don't hug," and Buffy's like, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah, no problem." And they kind of leave on good terms. And Kendra actually gives her a pretty good line. She's like, "Stop talking about this thing like it's your job. It's not your job. It's who you are." And she's like, "Did you get that from the Slayer handbook?" And she says, "No, I got it from you." And we get our little stinger at the end where Drusilla is in fact completely rejuvenated, and she's carrying a limp and bloodied but still alive Spike out of the church. So that's it for What's My Line, Part 1, Part 2. Part 2, what do we got, guys? Starting with Critter.
Same as before. Steaktastic. Yeah, you had a lot of story arcs. It comes together. A lot of different characters introduced. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the wrap up. Very Buffy the Vampire Slayish episodes. And I also want to say,
I see what you did there. Oh, that's clever.
Both Willie the snitch and the worm demon monster guy. They both, I'm sure I could check IMDb. They both look very familiar from 1,000 other TV shows, sitcoms, and movies. I just got to find out where I've seen them elsewhere. They look very familiar.
Okay. Tuning Boy, what do you got?
Yeah, I might let this bump up to Steaktastic, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
I enjoyed it more than the first episode. I will say
Agreed.
Is it just me, or does the worm guy kind of look like a young Ted from Stranger Things?
A young Ted from Stranger Things.
You think he just kind of has that look about him? No.
Who is Ted on Stranger Things? Who is that?
Just looking it up now. I think I know who you mean, though.
Yeah, he's he's Nancy's dad. He's the guy.
Oh no, yeah, he does. He does look like that. Yeah, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler. Yeah, no, I never thought of that. Wow, good point. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure throughout Stranger Things he just sits in each he just sits in each chair in the house. That's basically all his input.
That's a superpower. Yeah, that's a superpower.
In terms of the episode, I didn't like how the worm guy he didn't really seem like that much of a threat. Like what exactly can he do to people? Because your first thing, well, surely you can just beat him by standing on the worm bug things, and then that's exactly how they beat him. So I'm like, well, why did they need the adhesive to do that? Couldn't they have just done that they've just stood on him anyway?
I have no clue. No, not a very well written character. at all.
Yeah, could he even qualify as a character? Is the question. But yeah, other than that, again, enjoyed all the Spike scenes. Enjoyed the final fight most part. Enjoyed the character work with Buffy and Kendra. By and large, I did thoroughly enjoy the episode. So yeah, I think I might bump it out of meh and into steak-tastic. I'm feeling charitable.
No, that's fair. No, fair enough. Luke, or sorry, Northern English Bastard, what do you got?
Not the best episode, but it is a bit better than the first one because once again you got James Masters getting into the action a little bit more. You get Xander and Cordelia just finally getting it on, and it's like even though it was building up, it still kind of is hilarious when it happens. You know, it's just the total like I hate you too. The buff kiss. It's
yeah.
I love the way the music just cuts in and cuts out every time that happens.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
And I did like Kendra's little involvement as well, and she says that last line to Buffy, which shows they both learned something from each other. And it's kind of a shame we didn't see Kendra come back more before the penultimate episode. You know, she could have been a good little temporary member of the Scooby Gang for a while before probably making death a little bit more impactful. You know,
oh wow! Oh, okay. Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Well,
You know, if the Order of Taraka wasn't overkill before, they're definitely not now.
Yeah.
If the two Slayers now, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened if like Kendra had met Faith? Like, what do you reckon that would have looked like?
They actually do meet in one of the book versions. Kendra's spirit takes over Cordelia, and they actually do get a chance to meet. It's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer: The Book of Four, which is pretty good actually. It's one of those cool little side things or whatever. I myself do like this episode. My nitpicks aside, of the two, I mean, I guess really I just sometimes your first one's going to be a little plot heavy or whatever. So that's fine. I don't have it's really not a big deal. All of the stuff I will give it a steak-tastic as well. Just due to the fact that so much fun stuff happens in this, and it's a lot of the stuff. It has kind of the unforgiving duty of having to carry a lot of the plot for the remainder of the season. So I guess I can forgive it. And even in a bad Buffy episode, it's still Buffy. So it's still pretty good. It is a lot of the times it does give season one vibes a little bit, but I guess I'm also forgiving of it. I do like Kendra as a character. I really like Bianca Lawson. I've liked everything she's in. By the way, that's Save the Last Dance is the clip I keep using. Where she's the villain in Save the Last Dance a little bit, but she's so hot. You forgive her everything she does. She's actually related to Beyonce, which is interesting. And they have like this huge beef between the two of them. I don't know if they're like actual sisters or they're like foster sisters or something like that, but she's in some way or another, she's related to Beyonce. I don't know exactly how. If anybody's listening to this, leave a comment. Tell me how Bianca Lawson and Beyonce are they actual sisters or just, I mean, I could Google it, but I don't want to, so I'm not gonna. But I like her as a character. I like the lore that we've killed Buffy. So now for the first time in probably the history of all of the Slayers, there's two existing Slayers at the same time, which gets played to much better effect later when we get Faith as a character. The dogs are coming for somebody.
Yeah, give me a minute. Let me move that.
Yeah.
It's the fourth Order of Taraka member.
Yeah, it's one of the Order of Tarakas coming for Luke. Luke, if you're signal